Flip the headlight over and support it with some rags so that you can get all of the edges very well. Whatever the cause, today the RS4 sweat a bit of coolant again. Alright guys, so today was the day. I got the clamp and the piece of coolant hose off finally, and it actually took basic tool to do it. I just had to think of how to put it in, so now I'm going to show you that. So this is the piece we battled with for 2.5 hours in a previous part of the series. So I started with that basic set of rusty pliers there, positioned in the same way that these blue ones are, but the blue ones did the final pull out. It just had to do with how you send the pliers in on an angle and then bring them back over certain hoses, and then use one of your hands with a lot of strength, hold the clamp open and pull the coolant hose off. Now the coolant hose did have a lot of crust the last time I went at it, so it still might have been seized in there, but I think opening the clamp more was the big issue here. Alright, so you guys have the other parts of the series to reference what's going on here, but you have to send in the pliers closed into a valley up there, and then send them back down open over this hose, push the thick coolant hose to towards the driver, towards the steering wheel. You have to push that big coolant hose out of the way. It needs to be unplugged, and then you can squeeze the hose clamp and pull that short piece of hose loose. Alright, now smack in the middle of your screen you have that rusty clamp. That's for the lower rad hose. I'm going to show you from the inside what tool I'm going to use, because from out here there's everything in the way, you can't access it. Alright, so I found my pair of bent nose pliers. You're going to use these in here, and like this you can grab them from the back and then pull the hose out with your other hand. That lower radiator hose is now out with this tool. Alright, so after that some of the hoses are going to come out as a cluster together. That is the service position bolt. So what I did was I removed that, and then you can get enough play on this piece here, and then under that plate to the right center you'll be able to take out the hose that goes into the upper part of the auxiliary radiator. Then all three of those hoses will come out with a combination of angles of this needle nose pliers. I got that one off, and now we're going to pull the whole snake cluster out from underneath. Alright guys, so there we have it, the lower hoses. All of these can come out together very smoothly and gently while maneuvering. Maneuver it towards the emblem of the car, and you'll be able to get this entire cluster out. So the coolant series and getting this car back on the road is on the continuation now. For some of you that might be hawk-eyed, the fact that this clamp is a little bit loose is because before I figured that I can get all of these out with taking off the upper auxiliary radiator hose out, I had tried to remove that, so I stopped doing that. So that was not the source of our leak. That's a clamp that I have shifted. This one I had shifted. Alright, so now I'm going to take out all the upper radiator hoses on the driver's side. These are all going to be accessible with a variety of needle nose pliers. So once I got all those out, I'll tell you if there were any challenges. Alright, so remove the clamp on this one first, so it allows you more maneuverability on the whole snake there. The clamp on the auxiliary water pump is giving me a bit of an issue. I'm going to try not cutting it and maneuvering, but if I have to cut to get that, so it's that clamp that goes into the back of the aux water pump. I need to get that one off, and it's being tricky. So maneuvering the hoses doesn't help if you take the one out of the coolant reservoir out. The real finesse part of this one is that the aux water pump is plastic, and it has a soft little plastic bracket at the end, so you have to hold the aux water pump, keep the clamp open, and pull it out gently while not pulling too hard while the hose is still attached, so that you don't break the mounts for the aux water pump. Alright, so the finesse part is proving not to be easy, but before I get it off, this seems to be the position. So you can see I'm inside the fender. I can't tell you how I fed it in. You just have to feed from different angles wherever your clamp is until you can get a place to really clamp down and then maneuver using the flex in the hose. Don't pull on the aux water pump mounts. Alright, so that red needle nose, that short height ended up working. There you can see I got the hose off of the aux pump, but man, that came out violently. I gotta check the brackets and see if I broke that aux water pump mounts or not now. Alright, so the upper snake of coolant hoses is now out. There is some give in those water pump mounts, so even though you saw it a little twisted in that scene before, I pushed it back a bit. I checked the mounts from inside of the wheel well and everything is fine. So I am going to also remove this soft coolant hose going into the aux radiator as well. And the other end of that aux radiator upper secondary hose goes into the aluminum long pipe that goes down the side of the engine, and I'm pretty sure all the way to the back. So let's remove these two and I'll tell you if there's any challenges getting these two out. Alright, so you can see I got a 90-degree pick in that upper rad hose with the clamp removed. For a lot of these hoses though, you would be a wizard to be able to get a pick to break the seals. And like, look at the aux water pump right there. A lot of these connections are plastic, so if your pick goes in too far, you are going to scratch the plastic and damage that lip. So a lot of them are just pull out with strength and finesse. Some of them you can get a pick in to break the seal. Alright, so the combination of the red and blue needle nose pliers, you got to be pretty strong and precise to use needle nose on these style clamps, okay? You can see that this hose was removed, so I moved the clamp up, worked the pick around it, and this one's out. This wasn't without its challenges, entering the needle nose from the headlights, the top, you name it. If this continues to require too much force, I will remove the aux pump from the bracket at the back, but those bolts have rust on them and they are multi-layered onto other pieces of plastic, and this has bushing mounts, so if I cannot touch the original aux water pump, I'm not going to, but if the force is too much, it will snap the mount. So let's see what happens. So this is your call. If you want to preserve your aux water pump for sure, take the time and dismantle a couple bolts from the back and remove the bracket there. Alright, so I managed to get that out without removing the aux water pump bracket. I'm going to get a lot of leak there. Just try to not get it into any of your open electricals. The headlight one is really important there. You also really want to watch out for loose wires when you're doing this. But as you can see, aux water pump is intact and that hose is off. So just the other side left now. Alright, so after a bit of a struggle, that one is out too. The pick helped. What can I say about this? Okay, that piece that it goes into, I don't know if that's plastic or metal, but that has a retainer tab that popped out. There it is on the floor. You got to put that retainer tab back to keep that semi-hard black coolant hose from shifting around. Don't forget that, because that will pop out on you. Alright, so finally the RS4 project is back on the road. We are almost at the point of ordering parts. So fingers crossed everything goes smoothly from here on in.